Hello and welcome back. We are continuing to train for the Canberra Chess Club Championship 2023, in which we're hoping to basically win. It's not going to happen unless we practice a lot. So here we have a continuation of the previous puzzle streak. We're up to 25. And let's see what we can do. We've got an endgame scenario here where we're playing as white. Black has a very far advanced pawn. It's about to become a queen. Our king, in the meantime, has the option to take a rook, allow that queen to occur, and then try and move back out of the way so that we can get our own queen. The problem is this queen will be able to basically take here with check, and it's already getting so complicated that I just need to pause and go back to basics. When I say basics, what do I mean? I mean I want to look first at the most forcing moves. And I think checks are the most forcing moves. If we go with a check, this actually forces the king back to one of these three squares. There's nowhere else it can go legally if you give this check. Now, if it goes to any of these two squares, then our rook will be able to swing across to here, or at least that's if it goes to this square. Our rook will be able to come over to here, and always keep an eye on this pawn, which essentially eliminates all the problems for us if he can't get a queen. Because on the next move, he's going to have to defend his rook, then we get a queen. So what that basically means is if we play check, he cannot come here. He would be forced either here or here to keep an eye on this square here. So that's one thing. We can go check and force him back here. Now, what is that actually worth? Well, it may be worth something, it may not be worth something. It's also possible that we could bring the rook down to a1 and thereby prevent him from ever getting a queen. I think that move is nice. We could also start like that right away. If we just play rook a1 though, what happens if he just takes this here and we take like that so as to not let him get a queen? Well, then he can start moving his king around. We start trying to get our king around too. If he ever goes there, we can come back up and give him a check. But when he goes down, we need to check him again. He's going to take this pawn. Eventually, this is getting dangerous. He might get a queen we have to give up the rook for, and then he's going to queen this pawn. So that might be a reason why we want to play check first, push him back to one of these squares. Then, and only then, would we want to come back to a1. So then if he takes, we take, and he starts coming closer. In that case, we could actually bring our rook across to h1. No, it's not good enough to do that. It's not good enough to do that, but let's say we start coming in here, he comes here, 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 and if he gets his queen, we take, he takes, and we take here, and at least it's a draw. I don't know, this is a really tough one, so I'm going to spend actually more time on this. I'm not going to rush this. Endgames are really important. You need to know how to finish them off, so we need to do this correctly. There's just no other possibility. So since I don't see this working out for us either with check or like this, I will now look at the capture of the rook. If we capture the rook, well, he can't just let us have a rook for free. He's going to get his queen. Fair enough, get your queen. How then do we proceed, though? How then do we proceed? Do we play this move? If we play this move, he can give a check. We move away. He can then give this check and pick up our rook. Then we get a queen. It's all very close. That's difficult for me to work out. We take, he takes, and we move here. Let's say he takes this pawn. Well, then we would get a queen, and I think things would be fine. So take, I'm just going to put this in words rather than trying to do it in arrows. King takes a8, h1 equals queen. What if then we go rook b3. Then if queen g2, check, we can go rook b7. Then, let's say queen e4, king b8, queen e8, king c7, g2, a8, queen, queen takes queen, king takes queen, g1, queen, and again we're losing. So we'll start this again. This time I'll put arrows in, different calculation, but let's say we take, he gets a queen. What if I come here? If he takes pawn, check. What if I come here? Again, then he has this idea of check and winning the rook. I have to be very careful about all of that. If I take and he gets a queen, what if I play rook a2 to defend this pawn? In that case, he can go check. I have to come here. Then he has this check. I can come here. He can check me again. And I just have to see whether I'm able to get my king away from his queen in a way that doesn't drop my rook and that allows me to get my own queen. It would be a lot easier if he'd never got a queen in the first place though, so I'd still come back to this idea of rook a1. Rook a1. This is a really difficult puzzle. If you've sorted it out in your own mind, put a comment in, let me know what the answer is. If you haven't, then keep playing along, keep thinking along with me, we'll see if we can work this out. If we play rook a1, he can't get a queen. He can't just make a move with his king because he loses the rook. So if we play rook a1, he does have to make a rook move. And if he simply gives his rook up here, well, I suppose we have to take with the king. Then if he starts getting his king active, as we mentioned earlier, what we could do is play rook f1 check. He comes here. Then we get our king, which is here, starting to come over here. So let's look at that. This, 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 and this. It's his move. He might come here. At which point, we probably have to come here, allowing this. We start coming in closer, he gets this, and we're just losing there. That's the problem. We're losing after the amazing move, rook takes a7. I think, and after take, he plays this, unless there's something else here I'm missing. Maybe there is, because maybe here we can go rook back to a4, check. If he keeps coming this way, we swing across here, and we're going to win the pawn after well, no, we don't ever win that pawn. So I don't think that really ever works. Maybe the check and then coming back as mentioned earlier, but I'm going to play this move. Oh, look, there you go. It was rook a1, but let's try and work out why. No, I thought this move would do it for him. So we'll put the computer analysis on here. Here it says you take the rook. He starts bringing the king across. And you cut the king off this way so that he can never bring the king in. That's the key. As long as he can't bring the king in, then he can't advance this pawn. He can't advance this pawn, he can't advance this pawn, he has to make another king move. And that's going to give us time to bring our own king back, while he doesn't really have a lot of great options otherwise. Of course, we can cut the king a little bit further off, but we're just going to bring our king in, it's the whole idea. Ultimately, we're gonna be able to win some of his pawns here and thereby win the whole game. So that was a good sort of lesson learned, is that in trying to calculate this variation, thinking that my only option here was to go check and then try and keep his king blocked out this way, which obviously doesn't work because as we're trying to come through, he attacks the rook. That didn't work, but what we could have done was this move just to keep him cut off. Alright, and because of that, this rook move actually doesn't work. He would have to instead do this, it says is best, at which point we get our queen. He can get all queen. If he takes, then we take back, and it's essentially the same as before. He does this, we're going to cut him off, and it's the same as it was before. If instead he gets a queen after we get our queen, well, we can use our queen to give a check, making him move, then capture his queen, and now it's just easy. So that was a good puzzle. So the actual answer was rook a1. He can't take. And why was this wrong? What we did was wrong because, well, he gets a queen, and like we were saying before, we couldn't find an answer as what we're supposed to do here. Doesn't really matter what we do. He's got good responses all around. We can try and check him a few times, try and get our king out, but he's going to be able to check us. And certainly the game's not over. Actually, the computer says it's even. So, not the worst move in the world, but why would you only want to be even when you could instead win the game? So, really a tactic session there that comprised of only one tactic. It was an endgame tactic. A lot of thought went into it, still got it wrong. But I think something that had a lot of instructional value, particularly around this idea of not being afraid after rook a1, not being afraid of taking, because when he tries to get his king in, you don't have to check the king to be effective. In fact, you just need to make sure it can't enter the parts of the position where you want it not to enter. So I'm going to leave that one here. It's a brief one, but it's another lesson learned along the way to hopefully winning the Canberra Chess Club Championship. We'll see you next time for a training game. Bye.